So today, on this Mental Health Monday, we're going to be talking about obsessive compulsive disorder. Now, it impacts me in multiple ways. Contamination fears, compulsions, intrusive thoughts. It manifests in many ways. And in this video today, I'm going to show you guys, in my personal experience with OCD, and how it affects me day to day. Contamination, what does that mean? So basically, for me, contamination impacts me so. Let's say I have dogs. I'm taking my dog for a walk. My dog goes to the bathroom. I have to clean that up with a bag or a paper towel, whatever. Let's say, for example, I'm picking it up with a paper towel that day. Until I have it in the trash, I have this fear of contamination on my hands. And then I need to wash and clean my hands after that. Also having animals, animals have accidents, they pee. Having cats, they throw up. For me, if I touch anything that might have been, have animal grossness on it, I freak out and need to wash my hands. But where my hand has touched something that is contaminated to me, it will literally feel like it's burning and tingling. And then my mind is just fixated on it. It's just stuck on that thing. It can only think about how that part of my finger is contaminated. It's just alarms going off in my mind. This can impact my clothes, things that I eat with, really anything. If I feel that any object is contaminated, then I need to clean it or throw it out. Another aspect of this contamination thing is intrusive thoughts involving contaminated items. Now, for me, let's go back to picking up the dog poop with the paper towel. While that poop is in my hand, I'm also facing thoughts of lick it, touch it, eat it. And these are serious impulsive thoughts that are just stabbing at my brain. So as I have this poop in my hand and I'm going to the trash can, my brain is oh God, contaminated, boom, 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 that alarm is going off. But I also have something that's going, you should lick it, you should touch it, you should eat it. And that's just over and over again in my mind. This can also impact food and, watching movies. So if I'm watching a movie and something particularly gross is happening, I generally can't eat while I'm watching that, because then my mind is fixated on the gross thing that happened, and that gross thing is then in my food. So if I'm watching a particularly gross zombie film and there's gross things happening, I'm thinking that guy's guts is in my pasta. And I can't get my mind off of that. With the intrusive thoughts, there's also intrusive thoughts about death and horrible things happening to my loved ones and myself. Oftentimes, if I'm in a bad spiral, and people don't text me back, my mind is automatically they're decapitated on the freeway, they're completely dead, their guts are everywhere. It's the most graphic, horrible things that come to my mind that have happened to the people I love if I don't hear from them. And so I have to calm myself down and try to rationalize this is OCD rearing its ugly head and making you assume and think the worst. And it's just horrible impulsive images just attacking my brain, just projected at the forefront of it. This can also happen to me where I'm thinking about my own death and stuff like that in scenarios where all my life I've been afraid of driving on high roads where there's drop-offs and things like that, cliffs. And that's part of it is because since I was a child, I would have graphic visions of me dying in some horrific way that, just tumbling down the cliff, burning fire, skin searing off crazy, can't even identify my body shit. Since I was a child, it's hard for me to be open with people about some of the intrusive thoughts that I have, because they're taboo or seen as ridiculous. And that's just something that I cope with is this an intrusive thought? And, for most of my life, I was there must be something horribly wrong with me. I must be a horrible person because I'm thinking these horrible things. And so it, as being diagnosed has helped me realize that this is part of, your brain. And now we have to work through it and do all the therapeutic stuff I need to do, exposure therapy, whatnot, to better myself. It can be very difficult having relationships and friendships with OCD because People oftentimes think I'm just being dramatic or standoffish, or they don't realize the importance of things, like if I need help cleaning up something, or like, you know, I've had a situation recently where I needed the mop cleaned at a certain time because I needed to get rid of contaminants, and the person did not understand and was kind of awful about it. And it was just like, it's hard because I can't expect everyone to understand, but I just wish they understood. Like, it's, you know, like having a knife at the back of my brain stabbing over and over again. Like, I'm not trying to be rude or pushy. It's just, I really need to get this done in order to help get over this compulsion. And of course, there's people who are like, well, do this, do this, do that, do that, do this. And it's like, yes, I do need to expose myself to certain things, but I need to do it in safe ways with the help of specialists. And, you know, my friends aren't psychiatrists or psychologists. So it's like, I really just, they kind of need to stay in their lane, you know, and strangers and stuff like that. Like, unless you're a specialist about OCD, I'm not going to listen to you. Like, it's a tough situation, and everyone thinks they know what's best for me. But unless you have OCD or you work with OCD directly, you don't really understand it. And there's a lot of misconceptions about OCD, that we're just very clean and organized. And yes, it can be like, my house is organized chaos because things have to be a certain way, and I have to put things in certain places in order so that they don't get contaminated. But there's this whole idea, you know, people come into my home and they expect it to be like perfect spick and span, and it's like, no, that's a stereotype. And, you know, people like Khloe Kardashian are continuing that stereotype by being like, oh, I keep this so organized, I'm so OCD. And it's like, OCD is fucking debilitating, dude. Like, it's not something to be like, oh, this is cutesy. It's, again, like having a knife stabbing your brain over and over again with the most horrible thoughts of you, like, killing your children, and like horrible sexual graphic thoughts. Like, it's not just cleaning your kitchen. So with the rest of this video, I actually want to show you some of the routines and compulsions that I have. And this first thing I want to show you guys is how, you know, if I'm watching like a film or listening to music, or people are talking, before they say a thing that I know they're going to say, like if someone is saying a sentence that's familiar, and before they finish maybe the last two words, I will need to have my foot on something, or I need to, if I'm standing in the kitchen, for example, my feet need to not be on the cracks, or in a square together. So they have to be in specific places, or I feel like anything bad that happens to me is because I didn't do that right. And when I was younger, my mom had a really bad fall and hurt her back, and for a long time I blamed myself because I thought, oh, I must have done it because I stepped on a crack. I don't know how it took this long for me to be diagnosed with OCD, by the way, because like looking back at my youth, like there's a lot of examples of me doing very like stereotypical OCD things. But this foot thing that I do, like, this is something that I've done for a long time. Or it'll be something as simple as, oh, I know Jackie's coming down the stairs, I have to have picked up this water bottle and have it in my hand before she reaches the bottom step. Or if I'm sweeping or mopping or something like that, before someone on the TV says something, I have to have both my feet on the rug again. It's just doing things by certain things so the bad things don't happen. I also have this thing with the bathroom. We have, you know, the bathroom, our own bathroom off of our bedroom. And at night, I have to turn off the light as quick as possible and close the door and then jump into bed. And if anything sidetracks me from getting that done, it like, my brain projects, oh, well, all these horrible things are going to happen to you. You're going to be murdered and horrific stuff if I don't do that routine perfectly. And like a week ago, I had a huge like panic attack because one of my cats was in there. He was in the bathroom. I had turned off the light. I was getting ready to close the door. He did not want to come out. And then I didn't want to step into the bathroom and mess up the routine, but also I have this whole thing about being sucked into the mirror. And so I had to deal with that and not have a complete meltdown. So I had to get the cat out, close the door, run and jump into bed. And so I dealt with that as best as I could. And then I was feeling particularly brave that night. So I also decided, well, I'm going to try and sleep without my feet covered, which is a whole nother routine thing that I have to do. If my feet aren't covered, when I sleep, something horrible is going to happen to me. So as you can see, Being autistic with OCD is, it's a lot. But knowing this and knowing the things I can do to help myself now, and having an answer for what's going on in my brain has definitely helped me a lot. And I have a really great therapist, and he likes to use examples from films and stuff like that to help me. And like, one of the things we do now is in Dr. Sleep, Danny names his ghosts and puts them into boxes. And that's what I'm doing. Like with this video, I'm talking about how these things impact me. I'm naming them and I'm putting them, filing them away. And that's part of, you know, the exposure to it. And it's scary, and I'm doing a lot of learning right now, and excuse me, it's very frustrating, but I just ask for patience and love. And you know, anyone else who wants to talk about OCD, if you have questions, hit me up, and I'll try and answer as best as I can if I have the spoons and the availability to. But I do urge you all to, on your own, learn more about obsessive compulsive disorders, and learning that it's not at all what it's stereotyped. And that can help you, you know, maybe talk to someone in your life who has OCD and understand them better. So thanks for watching the video. You know, I covered what I could. There's a lot more to it, but I just wanted to give you some basics about how my brain operates. Remember, not everyone operates in the exact same way, but we may have similarities. So again, just be patient and kind. The world needs it.